take me back to the night we met.
Let's talk about Tchaikovsky and the man he knew affectionately as Edya. Welcome back to Yesterqueers. My name's Amanda. I'm a public historian of queer history. Tchaikovsky had what might generously be called a rather tortured personal life as a closeted gay man at the end of the 19th century. It's one of the reasons that themes of doomed love so often resonate through his work. But while Edya was not Tchaikovsky's first love, his story is perhaps the most tragic, and it had a lifelong impact on Tchaikovsky and his work. Tchaikovsky met Eduard at the Moscow Conservatory in 1868, when Edya was a student in his composition class. Edya was 15 and Tchaikovsky was 28. There are very few letters or diary entries remaining that shed light on the exact nature of the relationship between Tchaikovsky and Edya. It was clearly emotionally intense, but it's unclear whether or not there was a physical element. In either case, Tchaikovsky's love ran deep, and Edya is usually noted as the inspiration for Tchaikovsky's Romeo and Juliet Fantasia Overture, a piece of music that John Magnum from the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra describes as a tautly constructed masterpiece that boils Shakespeare's narrative down to 20 minutes of music that is, by turns, thunderingly dramatic and achingly beautiful. We don't know much about Edya in general, other than that he was from a Russian-German family, and that he enrolled at the Moscow Conservatory alongside his older cousin and a friend of Tchaikovsky's, a philosopher and pianist named Raphael von Kober. We also know that Edya was somewhat of a restless and troubled soul. He only stayed at the conservatory for 2 years, after which Tchaikovsky and von Kober worked together to secure Edya a job working for Tchaikovsky's brother Nikolai on the railroad in a Ukrainian town called Konotop. They seem to have thought that the physical work would be good for him, though in a letter to Nikolai, Tchaikovsky urges his brother to watch Edya for signs of moral or intellectual decline. Edya returned to Moscow in the spring of 1873. In November of that year, for reasons that we do not know, Edya chose to end his own life at the age of just 19. Both Tchaikovsky and von Kober carried heavy guilt for Edya's death. In a letter to Tchaikovsky, von Kober wrote, "There's a lot I can reproach myself for. I caused him to quarrel with his father and took him away from his home. I was the first to show him a different world, and as the result of all this, I caused his ruin." The tragedy of Edya's death stayed with Tchaikovsky for the rest of his life. In a diary entry dated 1887, 14 years after Edya's death, Tchaikovsky wrote, "How amazingly clearly I remember him, the sound of his voice, his movements, but especially the extraordinarily wonderful expression on his face at times. I cannot conceive that he should now be no more. His death, that is complete non-existence, is beyond my comprehension. It seems to me that I have never loved anyone so strongly as him." That's it for today. As always, more information, including sources and further reading, is available in the usual place.